Hey, so I want to talk about divested detractors and gaslighting, okay? So, gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation in which a person seeks to sow seeds of doubt in a targeted individual or in members of a targeted group, making them question their own memory, perception, and sanity. And at this point, at least when it comes to social media, I think it's safe to say that as divested black women, we are a targeted group, all right? So, according to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, the techniques a gaslighter might use to manipulate someone else can include withholding, meaning they refuse to listen or they say they don't understand what you're saying. We see that all the time, all over social media, really, when people talk about divestment. Even though I think that there are a lot of black women in these spaces who have been very clear and concise in explaining what we're about, people will still say, well, I don't understand what you mean. And it's like, okay, either you're dealing with a person who lacks the ability to understand and process information, or you're dealing with a person who is, they're just acting like they don't get it. Okay. Another tactic is countering. So that's when the abuser questions your memory of an event. Something else we see. So anytime we say, well, there are years, if not decades of these situations where you have black men who have used any public platform that they could find to speak negatively about black women, when you point that out, people will say, well, I don't know what you're talking about, or that's not what happened, or they're only saying that in response to, Oprah and maybe 2 or 3 talk shows from 30 years ago. Do you get what I mean? Another tactic is blocking or diverting, and that's when the abuser changes the subject or questions the victim's thinking. So, for example, if you talk about the high rates of domestic violence that black women experience, when you talk about certain other ways that black women and girls are abused, you'll hear people say, well, what about what black women do? Do you know what I mean? Or they will question your thinking to suggest that you speaking about your real and actual experiences and you providing data that shows that there are quite a lot of other black women and girls experiencing the same thing. They'll take that and say, oh, well, you just hate black men. They'll take that and say that we hate black men as a way to avoid addressing the issues that we're actually bringing up. Another tactic is trivializing, which is making the victim's needs or feelings seem unimportant. So when you have black women who talk about divesting or expanding their dating options because of the very public ways that black men have communicated that they don't have an interest in marriage or they're not interested in marrying black women, you'll have these men say, well, why do you care about marriage anyway? These are the same men who also mercilessly attack black women who are mothers in situations where they are not married. So it's like, so on the one hand, you attack a woman's motherhood if she's not married, but on the other hand, if a woman says, well, I'd either just prefer to stay single and not have children, or I'd prefer to have children when I'm married, then they'll trivialize your concerns and suggest that because we're black women, we don't deserve a family structure. Okay? The last tactic they use is forgetting or denial, and that's when the manipulator pretends to have forgotten what actually happened or denies something that they previously agreed to. And again, we see that because people just act like these decades worth of, social media posts, videos, memes, and all of the things that have come out of the entertainment industry, the fact that you have some very famous black men who have made it their mission to drag darker skinned black women or black women in general, or the fact that you have black men who have said, hey guys, you shouldn't deal with any woman who has a black mother. Like, when you point out all of these things that have happened and the ways that they affect us in real life, people act like they forgot it. Oh, what are you talking about? Or I didn't see any of those videos. And some of these are people that, you know, if you see them in other spaces, you'll see them commenting, whether you're looking on Facebook or Instagram, you'll see them commenting on certain things, or you'll see them commenting or supporting certain things on YouTube, but then they will come under our videos and say, well, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I've never seen these things. So for those of us who are divested, I think we just have to understand that anytime people work so hard to downplay a message, that means that the message is gaining traction. And so it's just going to be very important for us to continue to share our message and speak to our experiences. Even if you decide not to do it on YouTube, I completely understand why, because YouTube does not make it very easy to minimize trolling. But as long as there are spaces anywhere that people can go to, particularly Black women and girls can go to really hear from our own mouths what we're about and why we feel the ways that we feel, then there will be less room for people to equate us talking about our actual experiences to hatred. All right? But anyway, I will talk to you all very soon. I hope you're having a good day.